But let's bring him in. He's
Come
Michael
on.
Lombardi, host of the GM Shuffle, host of Coach with Bill Belichick, and you catch him every morning during the week on VSiN Morning Line. Michael, how are we doing today, sir?
We are good. We are good, George. Travis, great to be here. They didn't let you guys go to London, huh? No London time
I
for you guys?
know.
You know what?
We need you. We need you to advocate for us, man. Help us out.
Yeah, I would like to. I would like to go to London in the middle of October. That'd be fun. Yeah, lots to do.
All right, next season when Pats get an international game, us three, we're going remote
Yes.
Foxboro Rush out in Europe. It'll be the fellas traveling around. But let's get into it. This Sunday will be Drake May's second start of the season, now on a neutral site, completely different environment being in London. But what stood out to you from his first start of his NFL career in that loss to the Texans?
Well, I think you saw why they made him the third pick overall in the draft. He's got great arm strength. He's got his arm is tied to his feet. He's got nice rhythm. He can move with the football. He can make all the throws. Obviously he started 30 games in college, doesn't have as much experience as some of the other guys, but you could see the talent on the field, and I think that was encouraging. Now, it's going to get harder, right? I mean, the first half he threw for a little over 100 yards when the game was on the line. When the game became out of hand, he really played well, but you can't really dismiss that because this kid needs reps. He needs to play as much as he can. And he needs to keep improving. And I think what you want to see this week is for him to improve, not make the same mistakes he made last week, and keep trying to get better with the reps that he's getting in these games. And eventually, stacking those days together will make him a better pro.
Michael, I want to piggyback off that with sort of a two-parter, if you will. So bear with me. From the Patriots standpoint, I mean, hey, Drake Maye looked decent, but they still got smoked in the game. Is there such a thing as – you've been in the game a long time. Is there such a thing as a moral victory? Like, even though we lost, our kid at quarterback played well, there's things to build on. That's question one. And then question two is a Texans angle. I look at this team, Michael. I mean, the Chiefs, I know they haven't lost a game. They feel vulnerable to me. Is this Texans team a real contender to come out of the AFC and be in the Super Bowl?
Well, let's take the first question first. I think, look, one of the things the Patriots are going to try to do all year is sell hope, right? They know they're not going to the Super Bowl, right? Mayo came out and said he inherited a bad team, even though he re-signed most of the players from the team before. So I'm a little confused with where he stands on that. But I think the reality here is that, they played really good defense in the opener. They allowed 13 first downs to the Bengals. And since then, they haven't played good defense at all. I mean, the defense has gotten worse each week. That's a concern, especially if you're Mayo, you're the head coach and you're in charge and your defense is your specialty. So I think that's a real issue. And then offensively, you've struggled, but you're selling hope because you saw a young quarterback. Now, you turned the ball over 4 times in the game, which doesn't let you win. So there's really no moral victories. But if you're the owner of the team and you know your team's not going anywhere and you're trying to sell something to your fan base to come and have them come out, because this fan base is used to seeing really good teams, they're going to say, wait a minute, hold on. And you got to sell hope. So they're selling hope. As for Houston, Travis, I think Houston's a really good team. I think they missed Nico Collins. Look, they put 41 on the board in the game, and they were able to dominate that game, but they really didn't need to. Joe Mixon ran. They did the things they needed to. They were what good teams typically do is they took care of business. They're going to have to raise their level of play next week. I think they're just they need Nico Collins back to be a Super Bowl contending team.
Yeah, Michael, I like you bring up that the comments on Gerard Mayo on his current roster. When asked why is the roster in such a bad place, he said, I'm not going there, you tell me. What do you make of that with Gerard Mayo? It's like week by week where there is a way where he's tackling media right as a head coach, then it feels like he takes 5 steps back with comments like that. What do you make of that comment that he makes, calling out his roster and obviously calling out the past regime as well, being Bill Belichick, making those front office decisions?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, they all do it in the building, right? The owner does the same thing, too. I mean, he was saying that he couldn't trust Bill anymore. He's got 6 Super Bowl trophies over there in his case. I don't know where you get trust from if you can't. But, look, this is all about trying to discredit the former coach who won 6 Super Bowls and trying to build a new program, which they have every right to build. They own the team. But the reality of it is they signed Barmore back. They signed Uche back. They signed Duger back. They signed Peppers back. They signed all these guys back. Bill's not in the building anymore. So when you sign the players back, you can't blame him for what's going on. I think that, to me, that's a little bit of talking out of both sides of your mouth. You can't say, I inherited a bad team when most of the players you signed, particularly on defense, are the ones you signed back. And you had a full off season with $100 million of cap room to improve your team. So look, Washington's not saying it's Ron Rivera's fault. Washington just got better. Washington had one pick higher than the Patriots, right? So they were a worse team than New England last year, but they have gotten better because they signed a bunch of guys. They're coaching better on defense. So it's really a cop-out. Like, at some point, when are they going to stop blaming Bill for everything that goes wrong? Oh, I know when they will, is when they win. Then it'll be all on them.
Michael, you preaching, man. I feel like I'm about to catch the Holy Ghost in here, but I want to stay in the AFC East division and ask you about the Jets. Your thoughts on Davante Adams going there? Look, the division is wide open. I know they just lost to the Bills, obviously, but, I mean, you look at the Dolphins. We don't know what's going on with Tua. The Patriots are a mess. You're going to see the Bills again. I mean, this division's still wide open. Do you like the Jets here?
I like Buffalo with Josh Allen. I think you always play the best quarterback, right? I mean, look, New England's got no chance. I mean, New England has no chance. They can't, if they don't beat Jacksonville, where do they get their next win? Is it at Tennessee? And then if they get the win in Tennessee, where's their next one? At Arizona? I mean, you're looking at a 3-win team. They're going to be competing with Carolina for the first pick of the draft. So to me, you can count them out of the East. I think, Miami, if they don't beat Indianapolis, I don't see how they win the East. So it's Buffalo and the Jets, but the Jets all they do is talk. They don't actually act. I mean, last week they had a chance. It was supposed to be their uplifting moment. They were supposed to come in and dominate this game with a new coach, and yet they couldn't really get stops when they needed to. Buffalo only scored 3 points in the second half, but it was enough to win. I mean, Zerline misses those 2 kicks, hits the post twice, or else they win. But that's been the Jets' season. They just haven't made the plays down the stretch. I don't see how this moves the needle at all for the Jets. I mean, he replaces Alan Lazard as the number 2 receiver, which then makes Mike Williams expendable, which is what they're trying to do. They're trying to trade him now. So I just see this as a team that needs to play better and have more detail in their coaching. I think it was a good move to get Todd Dowling in there to help their offense, but it's still their offensive line is the biggest issue here. They can't block anybody.
Yeah, Tyron Smith out of left tackle, just an absolute liability out there. A guy that was great, but at his age now, not the same type of tackle he's been. You mentioned it. You're going with the Bills with Josh Allen. I just love their addition of Amari Cooper as well. He was disgruntled in Cleveland. He was upset in there. He leads the league in drops. I understand it. But do you think Amari Cooper going to Buffalo will revive his passion for football? And obviously that's a huge addition for Josh Allen as well. So how do you think that helps out Allen in that offense that really needed a number 1 receiver?
Well, I think it does help him. But look, I think you have to be honest with yourself. I mean, he had like 67 targets for Cleveland, and he had a 33% catch percentage, which isn't very good at all, right? So, and he dropped a lot of passes. But last year he was good, but I think his body language was worse than his drops. I think he felt like this quarterback can't get me the football. And I think that happens. I think he was longing for the day of Joe Flacco to come back. I think that was one of the things he wanted, because Watson has been historically bad. I mean, I can give you numbers where Watson is actually worse than, in the first 6 games, he's worse than Jamarcus Russell. I mean, think about that for a minute. I mean, he's statistically, and this isn't from my eye evaluation, this is from the analytical community who goes through all those numbers. And he comes back with worse numbers than Jamarcus Russell did in his first 6 games. So you can't put this on anybody but the quarterback. He's got to deliver the ball. Now, clearly Cooper's got to catch it, but I think Cooper will come to life playing with Josh Allen.
Yeah, you mentioned Joe Flacco there, longing for Flacco, and I was thinking to myself, Flacco would have been a much better succession plan to sort of ease in Drake Maye than Jacoby Brissett, in my opinion. Flacco was available this offseason. The Patriots, for whatever reason, didn't want a part of him. Let me ask you about the situation in Pittsburgh, though, because I know Justin Fields, don't get me wrong, okay? We're not talking Joe Montana here, but I look at Mike Tomlin's situation as we're winning games. Fields isn't playing terrible. Even if Russ is healthy now, why even introduce this possibility of a quarterback controversy? Do you see it the same way as me, or do you understand it? Because it was a plan from the beginning anyway, Michael, right?
I think it was, Travis. And I think that if you read what Justin Fields said today about I didn't play well enough, I think you can feel they have a really good culture in their building, and they get it, right? I think they understand that look, Mike's got a really good control of that locker room. Just by Fields admitting he didn't play good enough tells you all you need to know. So, look, I think they're going to let Russell go in there, see if they can add more to their offense. I mean, Fields, I give the kid a lot of credit. I think the worldwide leader tried to make him into the MVP candidate when he wasn't even close to being ready to be that player, which was unfortunate for the kid. They put so much pressure on this kid. It was unfair. I think he's actually gotten better. I think he's done some good things, but he's just not consistent enough doing those things. And they're hoping that Russell can give them some life because, look, here's the reality. If Russell isn't any good, they go into the offseason knowing they need a quarterback. They have no quarterback. They can't go with Fields. He's a free agent. They can't go with Russell. He's going to be a free agent. They need to find out about Russell. They know what they have in Fields.
Yeah, and what did you make, though, of Mike Tomlin going public with this one? Do you think this is a conversation that's like behind closed doors with the two quarterbacks? Because I feel like that's one way to handle it. Or is it just Tomlin being old school, Mike Tomlin, one of the best head coaches in the NFL, and he knows what he's doing?
He knows what he's doing. He understands how to build his culture. He also knows what affects his culture, right? So he's really got a control of it. I mean, you don't see any problems come out of Pittsburgh. I mean, when George Pickens gets out of line, they usually fix it. That's what a head coach does. Mike doesn't blame anybody else. He understands we're in a win business. Mike's not blaming Bill Cowher for any of the mistakes that are going on now.
And, Mike, we've seen a couple trades go through. Davante Adams, Amari Cooper. The trade deadline's going to heat up in the next 3.5 weeks or so. Do you see the Patriots making any possible moves? Mike Williams is out there. They need a pass catcher. Yeah. Maybe a tackle will be out there on the trade market.
Oh, Jamal, I think the Patriots are going to be sellers, not buyers. I don't think the Patriots are going to – I think the Patriots are going to collect picks. I think the Patriots are going to try to any player like Josh Uche who's on a one-year contract, who they re-signed, that they think could get some value back, I think they're going to take it. I think they know they're going to be picking at the top of the draft. I don't think there's any reason to sign an older player to bring him in that's really not going to move the needle. They need to develop their young players, and they're going to have to grin and bear what these are the decisions they've made, right? Mm-hmm. Again, there's always been turnarounds. Teams turn their season around. New England can blame everything on the past regime, but they've been in charge now since January.
Yeah, I like that call, too, especially a Josh Uche on a rental deal, a team that needs a pass rush. They already did a deal with him. The Falcons can be a playoff contender. Yep. They need to re-up their pass rush. We saw with the Lions, lost in Aiden Hutchinson. Uche's not a Hutchinson, but he adds that lever. So it makes sense on those selling pieces. And what does that say to the locker room, though? Or is it just that we suck and we need to get players out of here, and they know it's all about the rebuild in the foundation year?
Yeah. Look, if you don't like it, play better.
Yeah.
What's the great Bob Knight line? What's the greatest motivator for a player is your ass is on the seat, sitting next to me. If you don't like it, play better.
Yeah. All right. He's Michael Lombardi, host of Coach with Bill Belichick, host of the GM Shuffle. Catch him every morning on VSiN Morning Line. Michael, thanks for taking the time and joining us.
Thank you, George. Thanks, Travis.
See ya.